Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Kylie and Zori here today.
Hey.
Okay, so I think on this podcast we kind of were inspired to dive into like famous people for some reason.
Conspiracies in
Some
the
of the-
world of fame and how different that world is from our world.
True,
Even though
and
it's
some
in
of the
the same
darker stuff
Yeah, some
behind
of the darker
it.
stuff. We'll wait a second to get into the darker stuff, so if you
We'll
want,
start off easy.
we're not going to scare you right away, but we are going to go into that, so watch out. But I wanted to start by talking about Kylie Jenner, because this week...
I haven't heard of this yet.
Which is good. This is why I'm like, I want your opinion on it. Because first of all, as a preface, I have seen every single episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians and every episode of The Kardashians.
You don't strike me as that.
Which is
I've
why
never
it's funny.
seen any
That's why it's
episodes
funny.
of it.
So the story behind it is, like, in high school, we would always see those, like, you probably saw that video or whatever, where it's, like, a fake Kardashian video where they're, like, all out to lunch or whatever, and she's like, oh, the strawberry soda is really good. Like, you should get the strawberry soda. And then the other girl's like, okay, like, whatever. And then the waiter's like, what kind of soda do you want? And then she's like, I'll have the orange soda. And then she's like, okay, why'd you get the orange soda? Whatever. If you didn't see it, basically it's just making fun of the Kardashians. And there's clips from it, and me and my friend thought it was so funny. And so I was like, you know what? I just actually want to watch the show. And the show is fucking hilarious. And that's why I watch it, because it's so good, and it's so fun to watch them. That being said, I'm not, like, a super fan of them. I don't hate them either. I'm very, like, Kardashian, like, neutral, kind of. Like, I just don't really care that much about them. Like, I don't follow them on Instagram, but that show is, like, I love it. I just love it. So, whatever. Anyway, and this past week, I think a new episode came out or something, and in it, like, Kylie Jenner's crying. She's like, everybody's bullying me, and they say I look old or whatever. And she's, like, with her sister, like, Kendall. And Kendall's like, well, like, people don't think we're human. Like... They don't think we're human because we just don't count to them because, like, we're, like, famous or something. And then Kylie's like, I went on this whole journey last year to, like, dissolve my lip filler and, like, try to get rid of all this other stuff. And, like, people, like, will just always say mean things about us. And why? She's like, if it was anybody else, it would be like, you know, don't talk bad about women. But because it's me, like, it's okay. And then that's what Kendall was like, you know, people just don't see us as, like, people. Because we're so, like, whatever. And a lot of people online were, like, pissed off about that because they were like, girl, you created the beauty standard and now you can't live up to it. And you're, like, pissed off.
Yeah, true.
Which is super valid. But I also do kind of see the kind of nuance behind it because I'm like, I don't think that they necessarily created it, especially Kylie. She's, like, the youngest out of everybody.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily create it. They're actually victim to it. If you go back and watch, like, the early seasons of the Kardashians, like, Khloe Kardashian was always getting called fat by tabloids, and she was, like, not by any means. So she, like, worked out and then whatever, and like, they adhere to what is society considers beautiful just as much. I don't think that they necessarily promote it. I think that they just have a following. Mm-hmm. And so people are, like, into it. And I think lying about it is problematic. I think that's why a lot of people were mad at, like, Kylie for a really long time. Because she was, like, 16, got lip injections, and she was like, no, guys, they just, like, overlined my lips. So we're like, girl, like, we saw the before pictures.
Yeah,
like,
with no lips.
That's not overlining. And then you build a company based off lips.
Yeah.
When your lips are fake. Like, I get why people are upset by that. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that, especially as the youngest, when that show started, she was, like, her and Kendall, because I think they're only, like, 2 years apart or something, probably, like, 7 and 8 or 8 and 9 or something. They, if anything, they were, like, kind of what your whole family's on television. They started their own show when they were 8 and 9 years old. Like, if anything, you fell victim to your sisters, you know. I think just because you get stuff doesn't mean you're, like, now perpetuating it.
Right.
But I see what people are upset by. And I also wanted to bring this up with this pod topic because somebody on Instagram was like, or not Instagram, on TikTok was talking about, like, you know, you guys say, like, the Kardashians and, like, just super famous people are, like, out of touch. And they're out of touch with reality, but they live in a different reality than us. They do. And, like, you wouldn't understand their reality and they wouldn't understand ours. And I very much agree with that. I mean, most people's reality is this, right? Like, just suburbia, like, whatever. And, I mean, not to say that they aren't out of touch, because I would say that they're out of touch with this reality, but contrarily, like that girl was saying, we are out of touch with theirs. Because, like, I think about, when she said that, I was, like, thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, that's weird. You know? Like, thinking about, like, their lifestyle, like, if you could switch for a day, it's like, I almost wouldn't want to.
I feel like I would just
for a day.
Yeah, just to,
but,
like,
just
see
in,
the
like,
difference.
other ways. Not to say I wouldn't want to be rich. That's not what I'm saying. Like, realistically, everybody would like to have, like, more money or whatever to do whatever they want with it. But my point being is, like, it's just, again, like she was saying, like you can't post anything. People are calling you old. You might not have certain values. And I mean, again, they are choosing to like record their whole lives. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people who choose not to be in the spotlight or whatever, but it's just kind of weird. Like, when you even think about the culture around it, like I was thinking about their friends and stuff, like their other famous friends. Like, maybe you don't want lip injections, but if your friends are like Bella Hadid and like whatever, and they're all like, yeah, I just went and got like half a syringe. Yeah, I just, like the same way that we would be like, I don't know, have you seen this show? They're like, have you gone to get your lips done or whatever? So like it might just be the norm in their community, and because it's so out of norm for us, we're just like, that's crazy. But like it's literally just so, you know, if you're 16 and all your friends, like, I mean, also too, if you think about like her mom, right, like her mom let her do it, but if you're 16 and all your friends are famous and they're all getting lip injections and you hate your lips and you're in the public eye and you're like, I literally want to die every day because people talk about me.
Yeah.
And also lip filler is like it's like not permanent. It kind of is if you keep getting it for a while, but it's not permanent like that. It's like if you're a famous mom who's out of touch again with reality, like they live in a different reality than us for real. And I think that's why I want to bring it up, because it's so crazy to think about, like that is actually normal for them.
You almost have to like know who you are and like grow up before you get famous.
Oh yeah.
So if you're famous in your teen years, we already struggle as regular people.
That's why we see child stars like really, really struggle.
But if we were to become famous now, we have such a better head on our shoulders that we know, like, okay, I'm comfortable in my body. That's I like myself.
Nepo babies usually have a really big problem. Nepo babies or anybody who's a child star, because it's like, you were in the public eye for you have to go through the most awkward part of your life. Life. If somebody had a camera on me in middle school, I don't know. I think I already like was so, and the thing is with me, like I think about it and it's like I wasn't so insecure, but I was, you know what I mean? Like in the way that every middle schooler is insecure, where it's like, I wasn't constantly like, oh my God, I hate myself, but I constantly was like, oh my God, is my hair out of place? Yeah. Oh my God. Like I didn't hate myself as a human being, but I always was like concerned with like my looks already. So I really thought about that. I was like putting myself in like the shoes of somebody where it's like so normalized in their community to like just get lip filler or like whatever. It's like, yeah, I'm 16, my mom let me do it, and it's like Paris Hilton or whatever.
Like your brain's not even developed.
And even as like an adult in that, like if you're a mom and your 16-year-old is like, I'm in the public eye, I didn't ask for this life, I hate myself, please let me get lip filler. It's like, okay, I'll sign the fucking paper. Yeah. Like, I don't want my kid to hate herself. You know what I mean? So people are like, you know, she's a crazy mom for even doing that. But I'm like, is it that crazy? I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if you think about being in that place and in that mindset, it's like, that really is a completely different reality than us. Like, completely. Because if a 16-year-old in this community was like just in the fucking street, was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get lip filler. It's like, what the fuck?
Like, why? Like, why do you need it?
And so it looks weird to us because we're like, you're 16. But to them, it's like, they have a small community of people. Like, the 1% is the 1% for a reason. And I'm not saying the Kardashians are in the 1%, but they're rich, right? So, I mean, I think they actually are in the 1%.
They probably are.
But if your community is that small of people, we don't know what that's like. They are a minority in a different way. In a way that, like, really benefits them, but in a different way, whereas like we don't understand what that is like at all.
Well, now you see like
it's weird,
a lot of famous people trying to backtrack now. They're trying to like
get rid of their butt.
Yeah, because I think they're starting to like their mind is starting like, to like actually expand and be like,
I think it's because a lot of the internet too, like we're so like people on the internet are just so like, I don't know, we're talking about stuff more on the internet, because somebody talked about the shift from like the early 2000s. Well, I think we were talking about it. I forget. Because the age of Aquarius is coming in. How we used to value like watching like people be flashy and like have like name brands and like all these designers and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden like we're having this shift and we're like, you guys don't get to, especially after COVID. Like, do you remember when COVID happened and then all those celebrities did that like Zoom thing together where there was like, imagine all the people. You don't remember that?
I don't know if I remember.
There was a thing where Millie Wally Brown, because she was like singing. It was just like they all got together and they were basically like, yeah, we're inside too, guys. And we were like, no. No, because you are, but you're in a mansion.
Yeah.
You have people still working for you. Like, you're inside but, like, you're living lavish. Like, you have food getting delivered to you. Like, we can't literally put food on the table.
Yeah.
So it's not the same. Maybe don't sing John Lennon songs at us over Zoom, because we're not in the, like, don't. Like, people aren't stupid anymore. People don't, like, idolize celebrities the way they used to. It'd be like, I want to be you. Now it's just like, you guys are out of touch. You know what I mean? With, like, our reality. And it's weird. I feel like the weird connect is that we consume that content.
Yeah. And
they are so famous because we consume their content. So they're confused because they're like, don't you love us? And we're like, not like that. You know? Right. I think it's just so weird to think about.
I did hear someone say sometime that, like, the plane, like, the realm between this world and the famous world is so, like far to reach. Like, it's such a... it's just, they're on a completely different plane.
Completely different.
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like it's
in the
not...
way where that girl was, like, because initially when I heard it, I was like, okay, not her, like, defending rich people. But it's, like, not really defending, it's just, like, the truth. Like, we wouldn't understand that just as much as they don't understand us, which is why there is a disconnect.
Unless they were regular before they became famous.
But even then, because if it's been a really long time.
Yeah.
Because people have been making fun of J-Lo. Have you been seeing that on the internet? Mm-mm. Dude, J-Lo, like, came out with a thing, like, because she, like, disappeared for a while. I mean, she didn't, like, disappear, but, like, she wasn't doing anything, like, except for, like, acting here and there. And then she, like, came out with, like, her own, like, documentary about her life or whatever, which is, like, fine, but, like, it just was so cringe. It was so cringe. Because there was, like, this clip going viral of her being, like, her hair was just, like, all over the place, and she wasn't wearing makeup, and she was, like, yeah, like, I remember when I was a little girl, and, like, her whole thing is, you remember that, she has a song called, like, Jenny from the Block, basically talking about, like, she knows where she's from, like, the hook is, like, don't be fooled by the rocks that I got, I'm still Jenny from the Block. Okay, like, because she grew up in the Bronx, New York, whatever, so, like, in this little thing, she was like, yeah, I remember when I was running up and down the Bronx with my hair all crazy like this, like, no rules, like, everybody's like, girl, like, what are you talking about? Like, your hair is just out of a ponytail, like, what are you talking about? And then she did a Vogue 75 questions, and those are always, like, scripted, like, quote-unquote scripted, but it was just so cringe. Like, one of the questions was, everybody knows, like, the New Yorker, like, I'm walking here, but what's another saying? And then she was like, fuck you. It was just like that. It was so cringe. And it was so awkward. It was just so awkward. So everybody online was like, ew, like, what is she doing? And, like, it's like, we just, like, meme celebrities. Like, we don't love them the way that we used to. I don't think, like, we do love celebrities still. I think we're always gonna love celebrities, but, like, we're not afraid to, like, make fun of them, and then they're confused because they're like, this isn't what... She's very, like, if you watch her now, she's, like, very out of touch. She never lets go of the Bronx, and people make fun of that, too. They're like, girl, you haven't stepped foot in the Bronx for, like, a decade. Like,
it's not the same as it used to be. No. Like, famous people back then, you could actually value them for their talent. Yeah. Now everybody's famous for almost no reason.
I think everybody's famous. Even famous people are famous for really no reason sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, like, back then, like, really famous artists and bands and, like, you know, like, rock bands and, like, just artists back then. It was more like, okay, you're really also, talented.
Like, I feel like we hold people accountable different, too. Like, when people are, like, do something weird or wrong or shitty, like, we, like, kind of hold people accountable and we don't just, like, not care. Or not even just not care. I don't think people didn't care before. I think people just didn't know. And now that we have the internet, you can go back, like, I saw something about how, it was on Reddit, actually, that I saw this. This wasn't even, like, this didn't blow up. This wasn't, like, all over the internet or anything. On Reddit, I saw it was under mildly interesting. It was under something like that, under whatever. And it was, like, a book that one of the guys from Red Hot Chili Peppers wrote. Mm-hmm. I think it was Red Hot Chili Peppers.
If I say the name of the person, would you know?
Maybe.
Was it Eddie Vedder?
Maybe.
Like, he was also in Nirvana and he lost Kurt Cobain, and then he was also in another band where he lost another one of his friends.
It was either, I think it was Chili Peppers. I forget. It was probably him. But it was like a book one of them wrote, and it was an excerpt from the book where he talks about how he, like, hooked up this 14-year-old fan. And he was, like, fully an adult.
I don't think it was him.
And it's just, like... And he basically was like, oh, yeah, I didn't know she was 14. But it's like, how do you not know? If you're an adult, like, you know what, like, 14-year-olds look like.
Right.
And then he was like, yeah, and then I found out, and we had sex one more time. And then I, like, told her to go home.
Okay, yeah, that wasn't the guy.
And it's like, what? It's like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, we just hold people accountable different. So I think that they think that... I mean, there was a point where it's like, celebrities could kind of do no wrong. Except for, like, maybe be, like, a couple pounds overweight, according to the tabloids. But, like... Now we're like, yeah, you're kind of annoying and weird. And they're like, fuck. Like, why do these, like, poor people not like me? You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy, the difference in the world. But because of that difference in the world, we have things like Epstein's Island and, like, what, the Illuminati?
The Illuminati.
Yeah, so we gotta talk about the way that those...
The Illuminati was, like, talked about a lot when we were in high school, I feel like.
It, like, disappeared, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't feel like a lot of people have talked about it lately. Okay, so we're gonna get into the backstory of the Illuminati. So, like, who was the first person to kind of start it? This also says the birthplace of it.
Wait, so is the Illuminati confirmed real?
I mean, so, like, because it's saying like that there was meeting. It says, I think they come from France, England, all over, but the meeting place is in Europe, which would kind of make sense.
Oh, so there is an Illuminati.
I mean, yeah,
I thought the Illuminati was a conspiracy theory.
I mean, it's definitely gotta be real. It's saying that, like, Illuminati pilgrims... she believes may still carry out secret meetings in the Bavarian city.
Like Bavarian soft pretzels.
Yeah. It's saying the city is the birthplace of the infamous secret society that has become part myth, part historical truth, and the foundation of countless conspiracy theories. So it's saying it was on the 1st of May in 1776. Isn't that also the Independence year?
I think you're right.
So Adam, I'm going to, like, butcher his last name, Weishaupt, a professor of law at the University of, I'm going to butcher this too, Ingolstadt, founded the Order of the Illuminati, a secret organization formed to oppose religious influence on society and the abuse of power by the state by fostering a safe space for critique, debate, and free speech. Okay, so...
Okay.
It started off seemingly harmless, like, kind of like,
the way they're describing it kind of reminds me of, like, Freemasons.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
It's like so, people know about them, but they're not, like, creepy, but they are.
Maybe that's what it, like, kind of started at, but then it kind of got...
So maybe the conspiracy is not... Maybe the Illuminati is not the conspiracy, but the conspiracy is that the Illuminati is evil. You know what I mean? Like, we all know that the Illuminati is there. The conspiracy is that they're evil.
Right here. Inspired by the Freemasons and French Enlightenment philosophers, he believed that society should no longer be dictated by religious virtues. Instead, he wanted to create a state of liberty and moral equality where knowledge was not restricted by religious prejudices.
Hot take.
Yeah.
I fuck with that. Fuck with the vision.
So, he initially handpicked his 5 most talented law students to join. Then the network rapidly expanded, its members disseminating his goals of enlightenment with radical teachings, while at the same time creating an elaborate network of informants who reported on the behavior of state and religious figures in an effort to build up a wealth of information that the Illuminati could potentially exploit in their teachings. So then it grew to over 2,000 members throughout Bavaria, France, Hungary, Italy, and Poland.
I'm confused still, though, because I still am confused about Freemasons, too. It's like, why do you have to gather? What are you talking about when you gather? You're like...
Well, what do you mean? It's like
no,
but
I just mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, like, still with, like, even the Freemasons... I
don't know, I love it. I love the gathering. It's, like...
Oh, no, I get...
Culty in a good way.
No, I get the gathering, but what I'm saying is, like, why do you have to gather just for that? You know what I mean? It's like being like, it's like me being like, okay, I'm creating a group for a club for everybody who believes in
it's like book clubs.
No, but you're talking about a common thing. You know, that's like
Yeah.
being like, I'm creating a club for people who hate books. And then you all gather. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Don't you hate books? Like, what do they say? 2,000 of them together. Like, what do they talk about?
The Illuminati was never meant to be noticed.
Well, if there's 2,000 of you, you're gonna get noticed.
He liked the idea of teaching people to be better human beings. He wanted to change society. He was dreaming of a better world, of a better government. He started the Illuminati with the idea that everything known to humankind should be taught, something that was not allowed here at the university. Why does this sound like right now? And this was in 1776 and nothing has changed.
Nothing's ever gonna.
No.
Because Big Brother is watching.
That's so annoying because that's exactly
so
what people want right now.
How did it turn into, like, the Illuminati signs your soul and makes you famous? Like, how did that happen? If they just were like, we want freedom of speech and, like, to have fun and stuff.
Well, then the Illuminati got shut down and he was banished. Yet the idea of a secret society revolting against the state has captured imaginations ever since, encapsulated in conspiracy theories cooked up by those who believe the Illuminati was never actually disbanded, a claim that has been wildly debunked by historians.
That's why I'm confused, though, because even if they weren't disbanded, what makes you believe that that group of people is like, okay, if you want to get famous, like, sign this piece of paper?
I don't know. So then it says...
like, they were just like, we want to chill time and to vibe. So how did it turn into, like...
Even still, conspiracy theorists say that the organization has been covertly working behind the scenes to subvert authority. The Illuminati has been suggested as the party responsible for the French Revolution, the assassination of U.S. President JFK, and even the 11 September terror attacks.
11 September.
Yeah, why is it? Sorry, the 11 September
fine.
2001, it says terror attacks, and has become famous through books and films like Dan Brown's Angels and Demons. So then is...
Okay, so they're not bad people.
No, but maybe the people that joined it after started using it as a bad thing when it was, like, banned.
I mean, you shouldn't kill people, but, like, if you're trying to make...
like, if they did cause those things... The French Revolution,
like, all of that is, like... Well, the French Revolution, like... Pardon me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember, it, like, really needed to happen. Like, people couldn't eat. I was in Les Mis, so I should know.
So it says the Illuminati conspiracy theory is what we call a super conspiracy, or basically a conspiracy that controls smaller conspiracies. Oh, that's
right. No, that makes sense.
Because it does.
Because Illuminati talks about the government, but it also talks about famous people, but it also talks about... So it's like it's an umbrella for, like, a lot of different other conspiracies.
People do talk about the Illuminati, but a lot of the time it's in a joking or self-aware kind of way, almost making fun of the idea of a global conspiracy.
Well, here's the thing about the Illuminati.
It's crazy what the Illuminati has been made into. What it's been made into has nothing to do with the real Illuminati.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, based off of what I'm hearing about the history of the Illuminati, I really don't understand how it turned into, like, Beyonce is in the Illuminati because she's putting up a triangle. And if she was in the Illuminati, it doesn't sound like it's a bad thing. Sounds like she's just like freedom of speech or whatever. You know?
Yeah, this is actually crazy.
It's very interesting.
Because this is, like, totally not what I was thinking.
No. I thought it was going to be, like, sacrifices and, like...
Yeah.
So what is that triangle that's on the dollar bill that everybody's, like...
Right, I thought that was the Illuminati. Here.
Literally, what the hell is that triangle?
Yeah, because I thought that was a symbol of the Illuminati, too, which they could be using that as, like, a joke kind of thing because they think the Illuminati, like...
Story behind...
I mean, it did start off with wanting to, like...
bill...
overthrow the government, right?
Pyramid with an eye. Why is there a floating eye on the $1 bill? Why is there a floating eye?
Is that what it says?
Symbol of secret
Isn't there a
meaning.
triangle with it?
Yeah, here it is. How has a seemingly straightforward image, an eye set within a triangle, become a lightning rod for conspiracy theorists? Conspiracy theorists Let me start over. Conspiracy theories thrive on cryptic symbols and covert visual signs. The Eye of Providence, an eye set within a triangle, is one such symbol associated with Freemasonry, but also linked with apocryphal Illuminati, a secret group of elite individuals allegedly seeking to control global affairs. Okay. The Eye of Providence is a lightning rod for conspiracy theorists because it is very much hidden in plain sight. Not only does it appear on countless churches and Masonic buildings worldwide, it also features on the reverse of the American $1 bill as well as the Great Seal of the United States. In truth, it's uncanny and frankly odd choice for U.S. symbol of state. The disembodied eye strongly conveys the sense of prying authoritarian Big Brother.
Oh.
In combination with the pyramid beneath it, we have emblems suggesting an ancient and esoteric cult. So what are the origins of the Eye of Providence? Why does it fascinate us so much? And why is it frequently connected with Freemasons and the Illuminati? Nobody is certain who originally invented it, but whoever did... I don't know. There's just, like, a lot of, like, eyes.
It's also, like...
Lost in translation. Some people are saying maybe hieroglyphics.
Well, do you remember seeing the 2020 quarter was 2 bats?
Yeah, what was that about?
Because COVID. Remember that
like,
rumor about the bat starting it? And then you're going to put it on our fucking quarter?
Well, was that a rumor?
Well,
somebody
I don't know.
ate a bat, right? And then COVID happened.
I don't know if they ate it or if it was...
Or if it bit them.
Something. But I think it's funny that they put the bat on the quarter that year.
I don't know. It's really weird. So it sounds like, I mean, I feel like that just deaded everything. Because how did it get, I mean, there's no, how did the Illuminati get...
Well, I think I also sent you that link with Beyonce. I don't know if that had to do with the Illuminati. Here. Was it in your text? I don't know. Maybe not, though.
Because how did it get so connected?
Yeah, 9 questions about the Illuminati.
You think a group so concerned with global affairs wouldn't really give a fuck about music artists, right? You know what I mean? Like, you think why would the same group who killed presidents in the past, assassinated presidents in the past, give a fuck about a fucking pop star? You know what I mean? Like,
no, literally.
They're like, we're gonna kill JFK, and we're also gonna make Beyonce, like, the most important, like, person. Like, I just don't understand how that even got connected. It had to have all been a joke.
The real Illuminati, why did they disappear? It says they were wiped out. Because it was
they were told they couldn't meet.
1776.
Yeah.
It was banned. But then, if the Illuminati vanished, how did their legend live on?
Well, text, obviously.
Yeah, conspiracies started, and then... Why do people still believe in the Illuminati today? It never completely disappeared from popular culture. It was always burbling in the background. But in the mid-1970s, the Illuminati made a marked comeback thanks to a literary trilogy that gave the group the simultaneously spooky and laughable image it holds today. It became a periodic staple of both popular culture in various subcultures, where the group is often intermingled with Satanism, alien myths, and other ideas that would have been totally foreign to the real Bavarian Illuminati.
Right.
Are Jay-Z, Kanye West, and other celebrities in the
Now
Illuminati.
that's, like, debunking the Illuminati. You guys, did you know the Illuminati is, like, not real?
Jay-Z has previously said that he thinks rumors of his membership in the Illuminati are stupid. Kanye West has said it's ridiculous. Of course, to conspiracy theorists, that's exactly what a member of the Illuminati would say. Oh my god. It marks that Jay-Z and Beyonce seem to live in a different universe than us, he says. They have secret lives and secret access that seems reptilian. We notice how bizarre...
Okay, the reptile thing is
I was
crazy,
gonna
though.
say...
Do you remember when that video of Miley Cyrus, his eyes changing, came out? Because I remember being like, I don't know about reptilian people, but I don't know how to explain this either. But then, now that I think about it, I'm like, well, it's editing, I guess.
Will the Illuminati kill me for reading this article? If they do still exist, you already know too much.
It's so funny.
The reptilian scares me.
Do not be, like, afraid.
Remember?
Why would people be reptiles? I'm confused.
Well, what was it?
Well, Miley Cyrus's eyes just changed, and they were like, "Oh, so she's a lizard person," and we were all like, "Okay, yep."
They changed like what?
Well, they were just like regular, and then they went like they looked like snake eyes.
That's
they looked like her pupils like went thin.
Oh,
it was like cat eyes or something. But I'm like, that was definitely editing.
Yeah, that's so.
It was for like 0.2 seconds. It was like for 0.2 seconds. Her eyes were like regular, and then they were like, and then they weren't. It was like, also, if you were a reptilian person and you went this long without getting caught out, you're gonna accidentally flash your eyes at a camera.
I don't know. I keep seeing all these things on Instagram that are like, aliens are definitely among us.
Oh, dude, aliens are real.
Like, we know this, but like, I keep seeing it all
Illuminati,
over my, like...
aliens, for sure.
I do believe that Illuminati could
not
be...
that dog coming in her.
I do believe Illuminati could be misconstrued into something... It could be recreated into something evil.
Oh, yeah.
If they wanted to do
it just
that,
isn't, which is kind of... It would have been more interesting.
It didn't... Yeah, I mean, it didn't start off
But it didn't
evil.
start off evil. It just sounds like a bunch of people who, like, didn't fuck with the man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why is...
Oh, read about
bullshit going on?
Epstein or whatever.
Oh.
Or you can just skip right to drinking children's blood.
Skip right to drinking children's blood. I can't because of what the hell went on that island, guys. Epstein's Island is actually so fucking crazy because what the hell? First of all, I don't think a person should be able to buy an island. Who did he buy it from? That's what I want to know.
Have you not ever...
I don't get it.
Oh, sometimes I Google islands for sale.
Why are there... Who's selling them? That's when I started to get pissed off. Because what is going on? This is what... I was in college.
Selling them?
No, I was in college and I was taking the summer course called Global Health. And we talked about the WHO, which is like the World Health Organization. It's basically the UN, but just for world health. And we were talking... Like, in the class, like, she was kind of talking about, like... all the countries make their payment to WHO, to the World Health Organization, so we can all come up with, like, things globally that will help, like, health, whatever. More often than not, America is late on their payment. So we are in debt. So when people say, like, America's in debt, I'm always like, to who, right? But no, it's literally to the WHO. It's literally to WHO. It's not just the WHO, it's other places too, but it's, like, literally to the World Health Organization, like, we are in debt to, like, the world. Oh. And then, but I was like...
Oh, to who?
No, it's literally to who? Like, I always was like, who? Who do we owe money to? But we owe money to who? And probably some other things, too.
Can they not call it that?
What else are you going to call the World Health Organization? So, like...
I don't like that.
So, we're in debt to them, like, a lot of the time. So, we owe them money. We're late on our payments. Of course, we're late on our payments. We don't even have... free healthcare in this country. We're late to our payments, whatever. Of course, we're late on our payments.
We're late on our payments.
That's why America's in debt. But it's also like, I'm like, okay, money isn't real. I'm just confused because I'm like, America's late on making their payments. I'm like, who is the WHO paying?
We're printing money.
Who is the WHO paying with that money? Who are they? Who is it?
They're bending the rules.
Because
they're literally sitting there printing money.
Let me do a fake scenario for you, okay? Let's say the World Health Organization was like, we want to build a building that just has a bunch of Band-Aids in it. This is just so fake, okay?
Band-Aids?
Yeah, just so it's comprehensible. We want to build a building that has a bunch of Band-Aids in it. It's going to cost this amount of money. All of the countries have to give us X amount of money. America doesn't give them enough money. Who are they even paying to build the building?
Right.
It's not like it's just construction workers.
Right.
'Cause there's no construction workers for the world. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
I guess, maybe? Guys, I don't fucking know. I'm telling you right now.
No, I'm thinking right now, if you're in debt, why don't you just print yourself some more money?
Other than, like, the printing thing, though, because people are always like, I mean, I agree with the printing thing. Like, print more money is an intelligent thing to say, even though people will act like
yeah, but then
not.
They say it loses its value.
No, but I'm just like, why did we make that a thing, though?
Right.
Because
That's true.
Who are we paying?
It's not going to lose value.
At what
If
point?
we all had $1 million, that's not losing value.
In my brain, if we all have a bunch of resources, why are we waiting for a payment to get made to start making the thing that needs to be made?
Right.
I'm confused. If we have the wood, the nails, and, like, the other resources to make a building, and everybody needs the building to be made, it's, like, a really integral building to be made, why do we have to wait? Why do we have to pay? Why can't we just make it?
Also,
I'm confused.
Do we have a limit each year on how much money gets printed? Do we have like you gotta stop at this number? Is money still being printed? Or are we just passing it
No,
around?
it's still getting printed because it gets printed every year.
Okay, so how much gets printed every year?
I don't know.
Should we go?
Because there's some like folded around. I mean, floating around. Like every once in a while I'll find like a $10 bill from like 1981.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's dope. But that's also kind of gross.
Yeah, also the change.
Like,
why do
that's
I have pennies
fucking
from
nasty.
1942?
No, that's fucking gross.
Like that's almost all.
Why are we still making money?
What?
Like, coins are stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Just round up.
Just stop the money.
Yeah.
Just trade it. Just trade it.
No, because we still need cash, and if they make when they stop making cash, that shit freaks me out.
Okay, what am I typing in? Oh,
cash needs to be a thing because cash can't be taxed.
We shouldn't just be even taxing is what I'm saying. Like, what even is taxing? Why are we taxing? Stop fucking taxing me.
You can thank Tom Ford for the 9-to-5 too.
And do you know that America is the only country that like makes people figure out their own taxes? Every other country is like, here's how much you owe us. But the reason why taxes exist, and I found this out from John Green, guys. Love John Green. He was explaining, he was like, the reason it exists...
John Green an author?
His brother's an author. His brother wrote The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
And then he does all the science. He does Crash Course on YouTube.
Okay.
But he was explaining, he was like, basically, like, all these people wanted to create the job of being, like, a tax, like, an accountant. So, like, the big accountant, like, / like, tax doing services, like, TurboTax, like, pay the government to make this, like, a thing so that they can profit off of it. Even though the government already knows how much you owe them or how much they owe you.
Right.
So, like, making you do your taxes is literally just for shits and gigs. Because they already know. And if you fuck your shit up, you can go to jail.
Yeah.
The IRS is like, oh, you fucked up your taxes? Go to jail. Why don't you just tell me how much... I don't know what these forms mean. Literally stop. Like, getting older is such a bitch.
Yeah.
It's a pain in my ass. Looking at these forms, like... Can't you just tell me? Like,
yeah,
what do you
right.
mean? The whoop de whoop de whoop. How much did you make this year? Bitch, I'm not counting. I don't know. Okay, money needs...
How much money gets printed per year? In the U.S.
What? The first thing to come up is how much money do you need to be happy?
Oh, I mean, jeez.
That's not what I typed in.
It's like, no, but it's what you need.
How much of money gets printed each year?
U.S., right? Or is this, like, globally?
Well, I'm just going to type it in and see what comes up. Oh. Sorry. That's a lot. Okay, wait. Hang on. Annual production reports. $1 bills in the year 2020. I don't even know that's a million billion, I guess. 1,574,400,000.
So
$1 bills.
Where does it just like get distributed to? Like the bank?
Yeah.
Like,
that's why sometimes you go to the bank and then you get Fresh Krispies. It's just banks. I was like, why are they getting it? What do they get it for? This is what I'm saying. There's a point where you start thinking about money where, like, where did it start? It's like the chicken or the egg scenario where, like...
Yeah, it's like...
for everyone who's received $1, they have to lose it.
Someone's like...
Who is the big, mighty dollar that we all owe money to? I don't understand. Because how is the world in debt? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, for example, America's in debt to the WHO, but the WHO's in debt to the world? Who are we paying? I don't understand money. I don't understand
There's
it.
so many millionaires and billionaires.
I don't get it.
It's like,
I don't get
where
it.
are you getting all that money?
No, but
like,
they're in debt too.
Yeah.
To who?
to
Literally the WHO. I can't. The WHO is
Someone one day was like, fuck trading shit. We need money.
Who are we in debt to? I guess that makes sense because not everything is the same, right? It's like, what? You're a dentist. I need a tooth pulled. I have these carrots. It's like, girl, I don't need no damn carrots.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense, but it's also like, why did we make it the way we made it? Where it's like, you're gonna get taxed. You're gonna... What even is a tax? Like...
Yeah, someone really made it so complex if you think about it. Like,
the U.S. national debt is the total amount of money the federal government owes to creditors, which include the public and other parts of the federal government. So the federal government owes money to the federal government.
Like, I don't even know what you just said. Like, I don't even know what that means.
What do you mean by that? Public includes foreign investors and foreign governments. Individual investors and banks represent 15% of the debt. Who's investing? I'm convinced none of these people understand money. They just have enough to be able to throw money and know that they're going to get some out.
Yeah.
Because what are we talking about? What do you mean the federal government owes creditors, which includes the federal government? They said we're in debt to ourselves. Fuck, I owe myself $10.
You can't be in debt to yourself. Just print more money if you're the government. You're the one printing the fucking money.
Who does the U.S. owe $31.4 trillion?
What? Trillion?
Okay, wait, hang on.
Does trillion even exist?
Yes.
What's past trillion?
I think
Zillion?
Quintillion. Those are numbers.
Quintillion?
Well, numbers go on for infinity.
No, I know, but like, I don't think we've made it there yet, past trillion.
First, the debt held by the public stands at more than 24.64 trillion. And this is why I'm never paying any of my loans off. Because I don't care enough. Like, you're going to get a little bit from me. No, you don't. That's the thing. That's the thing. People are like, you know, I'm not saying you don't have to pay it all. I don't fully understand it yet, but a lot of people are, like, fully having, like, houses and lives, and they're like, yeah, that student debt is not getting paid. Like, what, they're probably paying, like, $50 to it?
Well, I just heard you don't have to pay, like, your health bills anymore. Like, if you go into debt and health, it doesn't matter.
Did you?
You can't get in trouble anymore.
Because what are you going to do? Be mad at me?
Well, it used to be like it used to be a felony. It used to be able to get in trouble if you didn't pay your
debt. That is
debt
unethical. Like, how are we living like that?
But now
did you also hear that thing forever ago where it was like, if you go to the hospital and you get a really big bill, ask them for an itemized receipt.
Yeah.
Sorry,
because then they'll take money off
and I thought that was like bullshit, but then people on TikTok were like, literally, I tried this because I can't afford my life and I had to go to the hospital or something,
on things that
and it went down thousands of dollars. It went down because they will charge you they will charge you like $500 for a Band-Aid.
What do you say after you ask for an itemized receipt? Then what do you say? Don't charge me for this and this.
No, you just you ask for the receipt and it goes down because they're like, well, we can't.
I thought you had to say something.
No, because because apparently they'll just like charge you $500 for a Band-Aid, and when you ask for this receipt, they're like, oh, we can't.
What about just doctor appointments too? It's only hospitals. Hospital appointments.
I actually don't know. I think it's like a lot of times it's for people who go to the emergency room or something like that. Maybe a doctor visit or like hospital for like sicknesses that they literally can't control.
I'm sick and tired of going to the doctor for a physical, and she goes, I'll literally have a list of things to tell her, and she's like, well, here's a list of things to help you sleep better. I'm just like, she had no answers for anything. I was like, why do you think I feel like dizzy or like foggy like, in my brain all the time. And she was like, I don't know. Are you just, maybe drink more water?
That's, like, a huge part of, like, the problem in healthcare, which is, like, doctors are, well, first of all, so tired. First of all, so overworked. A lot of them, because they, like, you make good money as a doctor, you take on more patients than you can handle. So what, you only have, like, 15 minutes with each? So these are the people who can afford healthcare, by the way.
Answers.
That's people who can afford healthcare. So they're going in and not even taken care of. Like, there's even doctors out there. This is how people get, like, addicted to, like, opiates and stuff like that. Doctors out there that'll be like, what do you want? Like, what do you want?
Because they get that more of a paycheck?
No, just because they don't want to, like, spend time talking to you. Or in college, I was, like, learning. Like, one of my professors was like, you need to learn how to actively listen, because if all of you are going to be working in, like, the health field or working with clients or whatever, most of that job is listening. Yeah. Most of it's listening. And how many times have you heard somebody come back from a doctor or be like, I don't like going to the doctors because I never feel listened to. I never feel like they actually hear me. I'll tell them what's going on and they won't listen. They'll be like, no, you're actually wrong. It's this or whatever. Like, no matter what it is, like, you don't get, and I'm not saying that's all of them, but I'm saying it's very few and far between. And I feel like that's just a symptom of having a society that, like, profits off of sick people. Because it's like, well, now, even if you're, okay, what, you're a doctor, you were in school for how fucking long? You have so much debt. Now it's like, okay, I can finally work. I'm going to take on as many patients as possible. You take on a fuck ton of patients, none of them can even get an appointment with you. You're sick. Like, all these people, healthcare is in your hands, and you can't even take care of them. You don't like your job. You don't want to listen to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, most of it's mad random. Like, I went to the doctor for a physical, and the nurse goes, okay, the doctor wants to draw your blood today. I was like, why?
For what?
No, for nothing.
Literally what?
She goes, yeah, she wouldn't.
For money.
Yeah, I was like.
For money. That's why, because it costs to do that. It costs to send it to a lab and shit. So
why do I go to the doctors and spend hundreds of dollars for her to tell me nothing is going on?
So I found out about this because I was doing a project for one of my classes, and I had to watch this. One of my classes was like, explain a whistleblower. Like, find a whistleblower and explain what they did. And a whole thing about a whistleblower is it's somebody who, like, basically outs all the wrongs that are happening within a company or a practice or whatever. So basically there's this, like, I watched it because I looked it up and then I found that there was, like, a show on it, and I had Paramount Plus, and it was on there. It was like an NBC thing, and it was called Whistleblowers. And the first episode is, I think the first episode, whatever, is this dentist guy, and he's talking about, like, how he kind of got, like, blackballed in dentistry because he, like, spoke out about this company. So there's this company, you know, like, chain, like, healthcare? Yeah. Like, kind of, like
Aspen Dental?
Aspen Dental. Yeah. Exactly that. Exactly. Yeah. Things like that. I almost want to say Well Now, but I don't feel like they have that same energy, because Well Now is not all over the place. But Aspen Dental you can find, like, across the country, I'm pretty sure. Well Now is, like, kind of only in, like, New York, at least. But, yeah, Aspen Dental is all over. Like, I remember Aspen Dental from when I lived in Indiana, from when I lived in Michigan, like, it's everywhere. So, there was this chain called Cool Smiles, and it's, like, a kid's dental, like, practice. And so, essentially, the gig was they would kind of look for people straight out of dentist, like, school, because they're needing money, they're broke, they have a bunch of loans, whatever. And I think also immigrants who, like, immigrants who had, like, obviously credentials, but who didn't really, like, know. And the thing was, everybody who worked there was, like, apparently they were kind of stuck working there because of, I forget why. There was, like, all these stories of different people and, like, people going behind the things, but, like, it was just fucked up because they were, like, a kid would come in for a cavity, for example, and they would have kind of quotas of money to make for this company. So they'd be like, if your kids come in for a cavity, like, you get more money the more shit you do. So a kid comes out, you take one tooth out that needed to be taken out, you also take 3 more. You take 3 more, you charge a bigger bill. And it was supposed to be, the whole thing was, like, for Cool Smiles. The reason why it ended up working that way is because it was for, like, poorer families. So it was, like, kind of discount dental care. But, so the government paid them or some shit, so it was, like, you need to get more than I forget. It was like a whole convoluted thing, but it was so interesting to see. And the lady basically talked about how, like, she felt trapped. She couldn't really do anything. She was right out of dental school now. If she gets, like, talked shit about, she can't go anywhere else. And this one guy, like, called them out. And they also were, like, strapping kids to chairs. And then one kid died in their care because he had too much anesthesia. I'm pretty sure. Because they took more teeth than they needed to. When they didn't know that, though. His parents didn't know that until after the autopsy happened. Because they were like, he went in to get one tooth taken out. Why were 5 of his teeth missing?
Right.
Like, 5. I'm talking, like, a lot. Like, it was, like, weird shit going on. Weird shit. And so the guy, like, called it out. The guy basically worked from the inside out and started, like, collecting all this stuff because he was like, well, I can't just be like, I'm going to leave this company because I'm never going to get hired anywhere else. Like, whatever. And he basically, like, it took him a couple of years to, like, collect everything, but then he, like, sued the company from the inside out. And it was just, like, so weird. It was just so odd. And I was just like, this is a symptom of having living in a country that allows health to be a for-profit business. Like, it shouldn't be like that. Like, that's not funny. Like, playing with people's, like, fucking, why are we having quotas for kids' teeth getting pulled out?
Right.
Like, it's like, it's weird. And you put people in a weird position, right? Because it's like, you also can't just be like, oh, well, you're an evil dentist. It's like, if that's your first job out of dental school, or even if that's just a job you needed, and, like, you can't pay off your house. You have, like, the lady who was talking about it, she was like, I had a daughter. I was a single mom with a daughter right out of dental school. And it's like, that sounds like a good situation, but if you're right out, like, you don't have anywhere to go. Her parents didn't live here. She was, I don't know if she was from India, but her parents were at least in India, I'm pretty sure. And she just was like, yeah, I was just here and I didn't have anybody and I didn't know what to do. And all my healthcare, and also, like, what in this country healthcare is, like, related to whatever job you work. So she's like, if I quit, I don't have healthcare now. Like, it's fucked. Yeah. It's literally so...
They do it on purpose.
Jacked and twisted. And then you think about, like, honestly, again, I'm not gonna, like, talk out of my ass because I'm not just gonna, like, say bullshit, but, like, in multiple of my classes, like, I learned this stuff because I went to school for health sciences. So in multiple of my classes, I see overlap, right? And it's like, you see the stats for, like, America versus Canada, where not just Canada, there are other places too, but, like, Canada's the closest to us that kind of would be what we are if we flipped it. And Canada is healthcare, the government pays for it.
Yeah.
Because the government pays for it, they don't want to pay a lot of money. So they're like, we need to keep people healthy. Because the more people are sick, the more money we have to pay. Whereas America's like, we don't really give a shit if people are sick. Because if they're sick, we get money.
That's why we pass a lot of shit here. Like,
in fact, it's actually really detrimental if people aren't getting sick. Which is so depressing to even say.
So do you think it's, how they say Canada, like, you're kind of, they used to be like, you're fucked if you have an emergency in Canada because, like, the list will be so long. Or,
realistically,
like,
I think that's like, I think it's bad. I don't think it's that bad.
I mean,
think about it.
Why do I want to, like, interview Canadians also, and be like...
what's the alternative? Think about it, right?
Well...
You can't even get in here because if you don't have money, you can't get in at all.
Yeah.
At all. I think it costs, like, $2,000 to ride in an ambulance. If somebody calls 911...
it's $1,000 every, like, few minutes.
Like, I've literally had said before, like, if I pass out, don't call.
Like, if you're going, like, 20 minutes away, it's, like, $7,000, $8,000. If you call an ambulance on me,
I will fucking never talk to you again.
I know.
Ever.
You get in that car, someone drive you.
They had people, like, from other countries talking about, like, oh, how much... I think that's something that, like, I don't know, people who love capitalism, like, say, or, like, love, like money or whatever like that, like, say to just be like, well, you would never even be able to get into bitch, I can't get in the doctor now because I can't afford it.
Right.
At least I'd be on a list. Like, at least I would be on the list and actually get seen. I don't think that's a real issue. And if it is, I don't think it's as big of an issue as they're trying to make it. I'm not saying that they're perfect over there. Okay, there's probably some issue with it, but, you know, I think it's really weird to profit off of sick people. I think that's weird.
No, it's
regardless, it's weird. Like, it's weird.
And do you ever think, like, where do they...
Because why do we have all these things legal that other countries don't have legal?
Like, why are they always drawing your blood? Where's it going?
It's going to labs.
Right, but you're going to tell me you need a few vials of the same blood.
I think they draw blood all the time. One, drawing blood is super beneficial to, like, know about a lot of things. But I think the reason it gets done is the same reason they were pulling out multiple teeth at Cool Smiles, which is, like, lab work is expensive. Even Potter, like, my dog, like, they're like, well, if you really want to know what's wrong with him, we could x-ray, but that's going to cost you an extra, like, $700.
If you really want to know what's wrong with him.
Like, we think it's this, but if you want to be sure, $700.
At this point...
We can draw his blood, send it to a lab, $700. So you're not sure. So it's either I spend $700 and it's like, yeah, no, he's fine. Or spend $700, find out something else is wrong with him, and now I have to pay even more.
Not the middleman.
For, like, a...
Not the doctor being like, I might...
What do you mean?
The doctors literally Google at this point.
You should be the lab.
Yes.
Why are you not the lab?
The doctors Google. You know how you Google, like, my chest hurts because of this, and it gives you some reasons? And it's like, it could be this. That's the doctor.
That's part of the problem. They're supposed to talk to you. They have the knowledge. The issue is, because a lot of people will be like, well, doctors don't know anything. Like, what do you go to school for? The thing is, they have the knowledge. Do they have the time? Do they have the time?
Rid them.
Because again, what I just said, where people are like, oh, in Canada, you're on a long list. Good luck even seeing a doctor. A lot of doctors here are like that. The good ones will probably take, like, maybe 10 patients at max. I don't really know how much, like, is standard, but, like, you know, just a couple, like, a couple people that you cycle throughout the year, and that way you know them, right? You see them every year, like, whatever. You can take on a new patient if, like, maybe you lost a couple or you moved somewhere or whatever, but, like, realistically, a doctor at some point should stop taking new patients.
A doctor's seeing a few a day.
Should stop taking
every day.
Yeah. Even then, like maybe 3 or 4 a day. Like, you shouldn't be taking that many. And a lot of hospitals are having them take more. So what? I mean, at the end of the day, this is why I'm not, at the end of the day, blaming doctors, because even if you go into it for the right reasons, you end up fucked at the end. Because it's like, what? Now I'm exhausted. In order to pay my bills and my loans, I have to take, like, way more people than I can even handle. And as a result, none of those people actually get good care, because I'm taking care of way more people than I can handle. But I'm paying my bills. I'm unhappy, because all I do is work. These people are unhappy because I can't even see them. You know? Like, it's weird. It's weird. It's odd.
At this point, I'm annoyed. You can take all them out. We can use Google as the middleman. And then the x-rays and all that stuff is, like, you jump right to that.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't even get your shit sent to a lab unless you go to the fucking... It's crazy.
Like, why does Google answer most of my fucking questions?
They're supposed to talk to you. They're supposed to talk to you. And I don't think it's necessarily crazy for a doctor to Google something, because at the end of the day, the way the human body works and the amount of anomalies that are out there too, just like random shit that, like, people get sick with and we just don't know what it is. Like, as much as we know, we don't know a lot, you know? Yeah. Like, so no matter how long you go to school, you can probably, like, do the standard things, but I don't think it's weird for them to go, but that's the whole reason they're supposed to have enough time to talk to you. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to talk to you about everything, not just what you're feeling either, because we talked about it in my wellness class of, like, I think I brought this up before, because I bring it up with, like, everybody I talk to, because it boggles my mind of, like, how this woman, like, kept going to doctors being like, you know, I can't breathe, like, and they just kept being like, asthma, like, whatever, inhaler, here you go. And finally she goes to a doctor, and he's like, oh, where do you live? And turns out she lives by, like, a place that, like, I think, like, some kind of plant or something that pumps out, like, a fuck ton of pollution. So she's not just, like, naturally asthmatic. And they're just, like, giving her, you know what I mean? Like, like, context matters. That being said, it's not like she's supposed to, like, we're not like, oh, that's a problem, move. But it's good to understand, like, oh, you might be having breathing problems because of this. Like, that's not to be,
and that's how it should be, but doctors aren't trained like that.
It's fucked, because it's like, that could help you just understand your situation better, because obviously you can't just be like, oh, I'll move then. But what you can understand is, like, oh, like, you know, maybe I still need an inhaler because obviously I can't move, but what else can I do while I'm in my house? Maybe I shouldn't let my kids play outside.
Close my windows, what I mean?
Yeah. Close my windows, like, travel somewhere if we want to, like, not somewhere, like, super far, but maybe, like, I don't know how far to get out of the pollution.
I mean, honestly,
if you're in, like, an urban area,
honestly,
I will move. If you don't have enough money, you can't move. You know, moving costs money. So it's like you have to. That's the whole thing. Is being a doctor, you're supposed to, like, work with people and tell them, here are your options. You know what I mean? Rather than just cover it up. If you have something I always like to mention is, like, for example, a headache, right? If you're, like, tense all the time for, like, an external reason, I don't know, you might have a lot of tension headaches. And you can take, like, Motrin or Advil or whatever, and that will, like, alleviate your headache, but at the end of the day, the root of the problem is not gone. That's why before I, like, take medicine for a headache, I usually try to, like, either massage my neck, because my neck is always, like, fucked up. I have a big head. It's heavy as hell. My neck is always fucked up, so I'll massage my neck for a little, and sometimes, like, literally within 10 minutes after I massage my neck, it's gone. Other times it won't be, and sometimes I'll take meds because of that, but, like, it's, like, my first thing isn't meds. My first thing is, like, did I drink water?
Yeah.
Did I eat? Am I in a weird position? Have I been hunching? Are, like, nerves blocked off? And if I fix all of that, take a shower, and it's been, like, maybe an hour, maybe I'll take meds then. Because it's, like, I don't think people should just sit in pain either. I don't think medicine's evil, but I know we way overuse it in this country.
Dude, I used to see people
way
pop, like, a handful of Advils for a headache. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, a handful?
Calm down.
I can fix my issue with one, and I still barely even try to use medicine.
No, same. I ask myself questions first.
You don't need more than one, weirdo. Like,
why are you popping?
Why are you popping?
10?
Yeah, like half the fucking
10?
bottle.
We're just numbing and covering, and like not asking.
The day I
we
found out,
we should be curious about why.
Yeah,
because a lot of times you can find out pretty quickly. And that's why I'm like, if you go to like 10 doctors and you're like, oh, I have this problem, nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. If you're in pain, like, here's this extra strength Tylenol. If you're in pain,
not like, the extra strength.
They don't want it because you know you need a prescription for that. So you have to go to the doctor, and they don't want to hear you complain. They're like, oh, this is the 5th time you're here. I'm actually so over it.
And here you go. Why do they care about random people?
What do you mean? Why do they
like,
care
a lot of people, like, think about it. Like, you can only care so much if you're a doctor about a random person. You're like, yeah, here's a Tylenol. At the end of the day, if you want to cover up your pain,
that's what I'm saying. They shouldn't be random people. They should be your 10 to whatever, because then you know them. You create a relation. That's why that professor was saying to me, 90% of your job is going to be listening and talking to people. The chiropractors I watch on YouTube, the ones that, like, made me want to go into chiropractic, like, their videos are, like, 40 minutes long, and, like, the first, like, 10 to 15 minutes is them just talking to the person. And that's with cuts. That's with cuts made in the video. So I'm sure they're talking to them for, like, longer. And it's literally just the chiropractor sitting there being like, okay, what's your issue? And the person's like, you know, for, like, years, maybe they're a new, like, patient or whatever. So they're like, for years I've had this, or for months I've been working on my mid-back, or I'm a baseball player and I pitch with this hand. And it's listening. And it's applying, listening to the person and actually actively listening, not being like, okay, here's the issue. But being like, okay, you're a baseball player. And, like, knowing what you know about physiology, being like, okay, so you probably throw with this hand. Let's see. Like, oh, show me how you pitch. And having a conversation instead of just being like, I actually know about this and you don't. And a lot of the conversation that, like, the chiropractor has with their patient was, like, explaining to them. Yeah. Like, what? Oh, I figured out what your issue is. Let me explain it to you. Not just like, I figured it out. Crack. Come back next week. You know what I mean?
No, literally.
I don't fuck with that. No. I don't fuck with that at all. And actually, if you go on her website, you, like, can't book an appointment with her. Like, it's, like, hard to book an appointment with her. 1, because she's, like, well-known. Yeah. But 2, also because she's not working, like, she's doing her job, like, well. Yeah. She's with those people for a long, long time. And, like, emotional releases happen, and it's because people are actually feeling heard, and then they are also physically being taken care of. So it's, like, and that being said, I'm like, chiropractic can't solve everything. But I think it's a lot, and I mean, there's a lot of chiropractors that aren't doing that. They're doing the doctor, not just doctor thing either, because there's a lot of doctors that aren't doing that either, but they're doing that, like, money-making method of, like, ooh, your back's fucked, come in 3 times a week. Every week.
For literally 5 minutes.
5 minutes. We'll crack you. We'll send you on your way. We'll come back. Yeah. We'll take a couple x-rays. Charge you for that. Yeah.
Like, what?
Tell you, ooh, your shit's fucked still. Like,
you're gonna have to come for, like, months now.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, stop. Like, stop. I don't want to be that. No. I don't want to be that because I know I can make money not being that. Yeah. And also making money is not my, like, number 1 priority. I just want to host. Yeah. I just want to make a little cheese plate for my friends. Vegan cheese plate for my friends. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. Same. And the roof to do that under is going to cost me a fucking fortune. That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy.
Unless we live off-grid in the forest, in a cottage.
And that sounds fun, but then you actually do it and you're like, I want to kill myself. like, as much as I want to be like, yeah, I'm gonna live off grid, you live off grid, and then you realize, like, where am I gonna get the water from?
Yeah.
Where am I gonna get the water from? Also, like, the wind is coming through my walls.
The snow is breaking my roof.
No, there's actually a hole in my roof, and I don't know how to fix it. And I live
I can't start the fire.
Like, I can't start a fire. There's no heat. Or it's summer. I'm sorry, I'm boiling in a cabin in the woods. Getting eaten up by mosquitoes because there's holes in my wall. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's just too much. It's too much.
Back to the ibuprofen thing. The day I found out that, like, ibuprofen and Advil are pain blockers, it blocks your pain receptors. Excuse me? You're telling me we found something to block the pain out, but, like,
not actually.
Not something to, like, cure the root of it.
That's because the root of it is caused by so many, like, a headache alone can be caused by, like, a multitude of different things. It can be caused by too much light. It can be caused by not enough light, what you can't see, so you're straining. Yeah. That's why, like, people, like, if you need glasses and you're not wearing them too long, like, you might get a headache, right? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you're, like, and it might hurt. That's why I'm, like, we need this stuff. It's good to not be in pain, but I think first you need to know why you're in pain in the first place, because
instead of just gobbling it up.
I think one of my professors said this, but it always sticks with me, is, like, pain is so, or maybe not my professor, maybe I got it offline or something. Maybe it was one of those chiropractors. Like, pain is our body, like, telling us something. Like, telling us, like, something is wrong. Yeah. So, to just block it without questioning it is, I don't think necessarily wrong. If it's really, really, like, paining you, I mean, everybody has lives to live. Like, if you're at work, if you're whatever, do it. But I don't think you should just take it and move on. There might be a bigger issue going on. And there might not be. Again, it's like, when was the last time I drank water?
But if it's, you know, you're doing it reoccurring, I keep taking the Advil every day or every other day, like, at that point, you should want to be like, okay, let's try to figure this out. It's scary
because some people do want to figure it out, and then they go to their doctor, and their doctor's like, here's another prescription. Or they're like, no, I don't want the prescription, like, I think it might be this, this, and this. And the doctor's like, well, I don't think so.
Well, and that's why,
and it's honestly, like, well, you can either leave the office or you can take my prescription and not be in pain anymore. And at the end of the day, if you're in pain all day, if you have chronic pain, like, I have never had chronic pain, but I, like, have watched videos of people who have, like, chronic migraines or chronic, like, back pain that is literally, like, debilitating. Like, every day, all day, they're in pain. And you can't find somebody that's actually going to help you, or you can't afford, because sometimes those things are, like, from people who find out what's wrong, and the doctor's like, okay, again, it's like the dog situation where it's like, you can either fix what's wrong for an amount that's going to put you in lifetime debt, but then feel better, or you can just keep taking my prescription for, like, $15 a month. Yeah. Like, you're just in a fucked position.
That's why I feel like holistic doctors and herbal, like, herbal medicines need to be more...
Because the issue is prevention. We need more prevention. Yeah. And that's, like, the waterfall thing that I was telling you about before. You know what? Yeah, that's the issue. Because the issue is, I mean, some things are just gonna happen, and there's nothing anybody can do about it, and it sucks, and it's fucked up. But it's, I think, kind of more rare. I think a lot of the time, it's super preventable. Yeah. Things like cancer. I'm not saying if you have cancer, it's your fault, but I'm just saying there's a lot of external factors that I think could be diminished a lot. Yeah. Like, there's definitely an element of cancer that is just, like, genetic. Like, you could be living your best life. But I think most of it has to be activated by a lot of times it's, like, substance, even then, substance force. Or, like, stress even. Yeah. Like, stress alone causes so much issues on the body. And if, like, I don't know, if you think about the situation in the U.S. where, like, everybody has to pay for healthcare, working 9 to 5 weekdays, and that's just to break even. That's not even with extra money to, like, go on a vacation. 9 to 5 every day of the week just to break even. By the time 5 o'clock comes, you don't want to take care of yourself. You don't feel like it. Because it's like, okay, well, am I going to go on a walk? I'm exhausted. I have to take care of my kids. By the time you come home, I think about it because of, like, school. Because, like, I mean, I was in school doing, like, kind of 9 to 5s-ish. It was not like that. But, like, you know where it's, like, you're working most of the day, essentially, right? By the time I came home, and it's, like, a lot of people have work to take home. And if they don't have work to take home, they have work at home, right? Like, there was points in college where I was, like, I have so much work to do that even if I just did work all night, like, I don't know if I'd finish it, and I have no clean clothes. Like,
yeah.
who is supposed to do my fucking laundry right now? Like, alone, just the laundry. And that's only laundry. That doesn't count, like, okay, I don't have time to cook.
Shower.
I have time to cook for 15 minutes. I don't have time to do the dishes after.
Yeah.
When am I supposed to take a shower?
Yeah.
I have, like, 3 things due tonight.
If you
know
have
what I
kids
mean?
on top of that.
If you have kids alone and you come back from a 9 to 5, your 5 to 7 is kids.
Yeah.
5 to 8, probably 5 to 9, really.
Yeah.
And then 9 o'clock comes.
You have a baby, it's every
And then what you hear,
hour.
and then you hear somebody go, well, why don't you just start exercising if you don't feel like you're healthy? It's like, girl, when?
Sometimes it's hard to fit the gym in, too. It's like,
how
what?
are you supposed to fit the gym in? At what point is it just like, I have to rot? We're not meant to live like this.
The higher up really figured out how to fuck us. They're smart as fuck.
They did. And it just got worse
Smart
year
as
after
fuck.
year after year because it's working better year after year after year. And that's what we're this is like kind of a full circle moment. We're talking about how far away like the 1% is from us. Mm-hmm. It was meant to be that way. That's why it's kind of confusing for people who are in the 1% but aren't evil. Like, I personally don't think the Kardashians are evil. I think they're just, like, super...
Just lucky.
That's part of the reason...
It just happened.
Yeah, I think it's part of the reason why, found their show so funny and interesting, especially, like, the early seasons, is because it's literally, like, you take, like, a regular family, like your family, and give them a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
It's, like, they're fighting over stupid shit. Like, there's whole arguments over jeans. Like, there's, like... And they're just so rich. It's just so funny. It's just so funny. Because they're just normal people. They're humans at the end of the day. But they have so much money. It's, like, it really separates them from, like, the world we live in. And it's just, that's why they're so confused of, like, I keep getting called old. It's, like, you don't even realize the world that you live in. And we kind of realize the world they live in, but we don't know what that actually feels like to be in it.
Yeah.
The 1% who is evil, they're on a whole other fucking shit. With, like, the Epstein's Island thing. Mm-hmm. Like, the end of the day, like... The fact that wasn't even a conspiracy and it's just weird. Like, you don't... Because I remember hearing that and being like, ooh, that's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Not like I know... Not like I don't believe it, but I literally thought it was a conspiracy. And then I was like, oh, what?
Like, what do you... You just have so much money and you're just...
What do you mean an island where you can just... We don't know what's going on there? And you have that much money? Ew.
Yeah,
buying
crazy.
Children,
yeah,
buying
crazy
kids.
What money can do
from countries where, like, I don't know, it is fucking crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think it's so evil and sick and twisted, and it pisses me off because I'm like, all this money, if we just like redistributed the funds.
Oh no, because if we had all that money, we'd be changing the world.
No, literally,
we'd be doing really good things.
My mom the other day was like talking about. She was like, I wanted to be so successful and like make a lot of money so I could just like kind of buy like $1,200 cars and like hand them out to like single moms and like whatever and shit like that, or even just like buy. I always had dreams of when I was a kid. I was like, oh my god. Like, I don't know if you've ever had this moment. When I was a kid and I, like, found out, like, homeless people existed, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I just was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I was like, one day I'm going to be rich and I'm going to go out and I'm going to give them all, like, $500 each.
That's literally...
Growing up is realizing that $500 wouldn't do shit for them.
No,
Wouldn't
literally.
do shit.
Also,
like, that's crazy.
Most of them would probably just buy drugs in one day.
But it's also, like, what else do you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I always hate that argument of, like, oh, don't give homeless people money, they're going to buy drugs. I'm like, bitch, if I was on the street... And that is the only thing that even made me able to handle the fact that I'm, like, sleeping on concrete every night. And then half the time, because the, a lot of areas came up with, like, the anti-homeless architecture. Have you ever seen those? Where you can't, like, lay down? Like, there are some in Ithaca at the bus stops. So what it was is, like, how, like, a bus stop usually has, like, a bench whatever you can sit on while you wait. So on the benches there was like these poles in between certain spots.
Oh, so you couldn't lay.
So you literally can't lay down there.
Broken. Wow.
And there's like a roof over the bus top too. So like if you're cold and you're homeless outside, like that's a really good place to go to like whatever. So you can't, but you can't sleep there. They're like, no, don't fucking sleep here. There was some places like I think in like more rich cities that had like spikes.
Jesus.
Out of the ground in like some places. They're like, don't
it's a
fucking
hazard to everyone.
There's
at
like,
that point.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's not here I'm saying like, yeah, heroin's good for people. I'm just sitting here like, I've never been in that position, and if I was, and that was the only thing that could just make me just numb out, like to be in that position alone makes me like how the hell? Like how the hell?
Freaks me out.
It's so fucking weird. There's actually this YouTube channel I had to block because I'm curious. We're curious people,
Yep.
and it's called Soft White Underbelly, and this guy, I think he's like just like a photographer or whatever, but he like interviews people on like Skid Row, which is like a super
Cali,
California, and then he also interviews people like from all over, and he has like a thing of like, you know, if you want to share your story, like send in like whatever, and there's like really, really fucked up stories on there where it's like some of them, I mean, are just kind of like stories you've heard before on like intervention and stuff like that, but some of them are just like, you really start to realize like, oh my god, these are people who are just born into like the wrong situation.
That's why sometimes I feel like it's a simulation.
It's just so weird. Like, how would you even, and there's this podcast I watch, like that one's like really dark, like Soft White Underbelly just makes me like, that's why I had to block it, because I was like, I'm too curious, like,
yeah,
and I always want to hear people's stories, but like, I don't know. There's another podcast I listen to, and it's kind of more light, but even those, like, this girl talked about how she got addicted to meth, and it was just like, she was so anti it, but then some, like, later on, it just, I don't know, it's
a
crazy.
downward spiral.
It's a downward spiral of, like,
negativity,
you don't know till you're in it, which is why I'm sitting here, like, if you're gonna buy heroin with my dollar, fucking go ahead. like, that's whatever, you know? Life is not inherently a gift, and I think it's just, like, a crazy thing to assume that somebody who's in a position like that needs to, like, be like, I'll do the responsible thing and buy a sandwich. like
yeah,
whatever.
your brain's just like not in that mindset at all.
It's crazy.
Well,
that the spiral we went down.
I know. I was like, we didn't barely even touch Epstein. We'll have to do another podcast on that at some point because we are out of time. But yeah, we just spiraled into that.
So crazy.
We could keep spiraling forever, but yeah, we're out of time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. Leave a rate and review, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
See you.